Hello and welcome back to the Get to Know podcast, the podcast where, as the title suggests, we get to know someone. Today we have an incredible guest, a very talented voice actor with an amazing career who's worked on characters from Warzone to Lego Star Wars, Pepper Army, and also has built a following of almost 250,000 followers on TikTok. Jason Anthony, hello, how are we?
Hey, good, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Excellent.
It's really good to have you on.
Thank you.
And like I said, you've just had a pretty crazy career.
Yeah, it is.
Looking back at it, what's kind of been the path to get to this point? From the start.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, a lot of people always ask me, how did you get into voiceover? And it's funny, I never really started this journey wanting to get into voiceover or even thought about voiceover. I was a host a presenter on Disney Channel first, on Playhouse Disney. And I really wanted to do the hosting, the presenting. And I came out to LA in 2006, still with that pursuit in mind. And I got into stand-up comedy, which I did for a good 10 years out here as well. And E-Entertainment offered me a couple of jobs, and it was voiceover. It was, and I said, yeah, that sounds great. A couple of celebrity driven shows. And it all stemmed from there, really. I really loved doing voiceover, and then they got me auditions for animations and things, and then video games, and it kind of roll ball from there. I just really enjoyed the process of that, and I still did stand-up comedy. I still did a little bit of presenting, but now it's kind of like almost full-time voice acting. So yeah.
Well, let's take it back to way at the beginning then. Like you just said, you used to be a presenter on Disney. So how did that job come about, and what was that like?
Yeah, I was always into the arts as a kid at school and school plays and things. But I guess, we're going back now to end of mid 80s, and I had no connections in my family or anything to do with entertainment, so I kind of just brushed it away as a pipe dream, and I thought, oh well. So I got into sales. I was good in person and stuff, and doing presentations, so I got into sales and kind of distracted myself for probably nearly 10 years, but was unhappy. So I really had to make a conscious decision. What do I want to do? And this was in my sort of mid to late 20s. And I thought, in an ideal world, I would love to do this, as a full-time job as a presenter. At that time, a friend of mine just happened to say, "Hey, I don't know if this is up your street, but Disney are looking for presenters, and I thought of you because you're always, good in person and stuff, and got a good personality, and do you want the information?" I said, yeah. So it was really kind of, a very serendipitous kind of moment of, good timing, good luck. And and I went for that. And the rest, as they say, is history. But so that's how it all began, which was, as I say, very unconventional beginnings.
Yes. Which was the first character that you ever did for a voiceover?
That would have been, I don't know if you can see them. That would have been this guy here. This is a Nex from Hero Factory. He was my first character that I did in 2010 and series. So he'll always have a special place, especially in my studio. That was the first character I did for Lego.
So how did that one kind of come about, that job?
Yeah, well, at that time, I'd been out in LA for a couple of few years, and still, developing my comedy chops and going out for work and things. And by that time, I'd actually got a voiceover agent out here. So they fielded that opportunity to me. And it kind of started a very long and happy relationship with Lego. I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of work with Lego over the last decade, and that was the kind of the starting point for it.
Yeah. So, what one question that I wanted to ask was, you've obviously got a big array of characters that you've voiced for. What would you say that your personal favourite that you've done is?
I would say most recently, in terms of fan reaction, it has to be Otter from Call of Duty. Some of you might know Otter for Queen and Country. He has by far, because of the scope and size of that game, and the fact that the gaming community, they've been so fantastic, because this was my first character in Call of Duty. But of course, you forget they're playing this game day in, day out. And because of lockdown last year, I think a lot of parents out there and everything, they've been a bit more lenient for, their family to be playing games and stuff. So I think, especially because of last year, I think there's been a special affinity with Otter and stuff. So he's definitely probably the biggest impact. I recently just did last Christmas for Disney Channel. I played a talking Christmas tree. And this is the wonderful thing with voiceover, the polar opposites of characters that you play. From an SAS soldier in Call of Duty to a talking Christmas tree. But that was also just a wonderful experience, wonderful opportunity. Hopefully it'll be coming out in the UK this Christmas. It's myself, Jonathan Pryce from Two Popes, and of course many other incredible films, and of course our beloved Simon Pegg, who's one of my comedy idols. We all got to play a character in that, so that's for me as well, that character, because it's so me. I don't affect my voice at all. I'm literally, this is it. This is the piney voice. And I have such an affinity with Christmas and things. So those two at the moment definitely sort of stand out.
Yeah, well, we'll go on to the Otter character a little bit later, but you've just mentioned it then, and I want to ask, what was it like working alongside those two on the Piney project? Did you like get in meetings with them, or is it very much secluded when it comes to that?
Yeah, it's I hate to sort of drop the hammer on it, but a lot of the time you don't work side by side with the other actors. I did a show for HBO, The Life and Times of Tim, an animation show with the wonderful Alfred Molina, of course, who's reprising his role as Doc Ock in the new Spider-Man movie. But we actually got to work together on that. But it's a very rare instance. A lot of the performances, when you're capturing a performance, they prefer to record separately. And that's just so that they get a clean audio of your performance. So unfortunately, I never met Simon Pegg. I never met Jonathan Pryce. I did meet the wonderful Leslie Nichol, who is Mrs. Patmore in our beloved Downton Abbey. And her and her husband have become a very dear friends. So we did get to meet. Hopefully, we'll just see. Hopefully, if there's a premiere or something this Christmas overseas, then maybe we'll get to meet them. But yeah, unfortunately, for a lot of these projects, we don't get to work side by side.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a shame, but at the same time, you still get to work with these people.
Yes, yeah.
So, well, we've talked a little about it then, but what's kind of the process of getting a part to recording the lines? What's kind of the whole process that you go through for each character?
Yeah, I mean, in simple terms, we have wonderful, hardworking agents out here. I've got an incredible agency in the UK, in London as well, and they filled us opportunities. When we get the script, especially if it's obviously character driven, you normally only get a couple of scenes, but the scenes will be polar opposite. Let's just say, for argument's sake, there's a conflict scene, and then there's just a happy-go-lucky scene. So to give you two sort of different scenarios to work with, you'll always get a breakdown of the character, age, perhaps a little bit of the background, sometimes an image, not always. Images, are useful. to sort of physicalize the character as well. And then basically it's reading through the whole thing, reading through the scene, understanding it, not getting too much in your head, just understanding the scene and understanding what the other characters are doing and what your need is and what your intention. And then the voice kind of organically happens. Like, very rarely will you just jump and go, oh my gosh, I know the voice for this. You kind of just get a grasp of what the world is, what the particular scene is, and what your character wants out of it. And as I say, sometimes you'll get more information, sometimes it'll be really bare bones. And so you do your audition and, you kind of hope for the best. And if you get the callback, obviously you're then going into the studio, whether it's DreamWorks or Disney or Warner Brothers. We've been recording, of course, this is my home studio that we're talking from, but normally you would go into the studio to record. And again, that's mainly because of continuity, so that all the actors have the same quality. And of course, they've got much more controlled environments. And sometimes if it's a video game, you can be at the end of the production adding your voice. So you literally do your voice, and then like for Call of Duty, 3 months later, the game came out. Or like something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we came in and we saw very, very rough, what they call animatics, which is a very rough kind of storyboarded sketches of the scene. And then they will often, with animation especially, they will adapt the animation to your performance. Right. So if the line was like, oh, we shouldn't go in there. If I did it like that, that would be very different to, oh, we shouldn't go in there, in terms of how the animation looks and how the character looks. So yeah, it's a different process a little bit, but fairly similar, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, one thing that I've always kind of wondered is when do the voice actors actually do the lines? Is it before they animate? Is it after? So you have to sort of match it to the animation. Whereabouts does it go? Does it vary?
For animation, if you're brought in as the original character, it's always very, very early on. They don't want to spend time finishing an animation, and because there's so much work in it. It's an incredible pool of talented, creative people. So they don't want to spend all the time doing a lovely finished animation and then get your voiceover in and think, this doesn't match. So they will literally animate to your performance. As I say, with video games, again, if you're doing motion capture, which is where you're on a motion capture stage covered in dots with a camera hanging above your face, capturing not only your voice performance, but also your physical performance. Then again, that is very early on in production. I did an ADR, additional dialogue replacement, for a French animation called Terra Willy, a space sci-fi animation, and we had to dub over a French performance, a French actor. So again, that has its challenges too, because if you translate directly from French, then sometimes the sentence is either shorter or longer. Yeah. But the animation is locked in. The animation's already done. It's finished. So you have to then tweak the script, the director does, to fit the mouth moving. So yeah, there's varying disciplines for each scenario. So but generally with animation, it is very, very early on, and they match your performance with their animation, basically.
Yeah, is that a little bit weird for you? If you're doing a performance, then you don't actually get to see much of the product for could be years.
Oh, absolutely. People ask a lot. Is it still weird to hear your voice? And I think you get over that very quickly. What is really fantastic is to see the finished production. Because, as I say, we will go in, we'll deliver our performance, and then there's a film coming out this year, Marmaduke, which I'm in with Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live, and some incredible J.K. Simmons is in that, and we recorded that 2 years ago. almost. And it's still coming out, and I'm so dying to see it because we saw nothing. We didn't even see any animatics at that stage. It was still storyboarded. So that's as exciting for us to see the finished product as I'm sure it is for people, going to the movies and things.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's a long wait.
Yeah.
Especially as well. I don't know if it affects you much now, but you might think, oh, I can't really remember that, or my voice has changed since then, or anything like that. It's quite weird.
Yeah. I mean, when you do the Comic Cons and stuff, the fans of whatever it is, your video game or a movie or something, they know it better than you do. Because remember, we're still working. We did this project a couple of years ago, and they've either played the game 24 hours a day for the last 6 months, or they've just seen the movie 10 times. So they often know, go on, say the line. And you're like, oh gosh, let me just think, what was that?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So do you kind of, do you like to take every opportunity that's kind of given to you, or every role that's given to you? Or are you very, sort of picky? Do you prefer to just pick ones that you feel connected to or enjoy or like?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's basically it. You just nailed it there. It's if you have a connection to it. I have a huge comedy bent that I will always favor something that is more of a comedic role, just because of my background and stuff in stand-up comedy and things. So those roles always speak volumes to me. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, as any actor on screen or voice actor, I think there's got to be some sort of a connection there, because otherwise I think you're going to be working 10 times harder in your performance. Like, for instance, I say the Piney movie, I just saw, when that came in, I just saw this adorable looking Christmas tree, and I just felt like, wow, okay, this is fantastic, I love this, and I just had this instant affinity with this character, and just thrilled to be the voice of Piney. So yeah, I think it's you definitely have a gut instinct, I think, right off the first page.
Yeah. What's would you say is, because I feel like a lot of people, when they think of voice acting, they think it's just talking into a mic, but I don't think a lot of people kind of understand how much acting probably goes into it. So how much do you think is acting, like, full on, compared to like actual being on screen?
Yeah, great questions. We only have our voice. We can't portray an emotion or a reaction with anything else but our voice, because they're not seeing us. Now, that is down to, of course, the animators as well, but that has to be reflected. We still have to give that look, even though it's not recorded. We still have to fully give that whole performance. It's not just the voice. If you saw us in a booth, you'd probably think we were going mad, the way our arms are waving around and we're physicalizing things. But also, we can't disrupt the recording of the voice. So even if we are throwing our arms around, it's still got to be contained to some degree, because they can't get whoosh sounds on the microphone, or if you're screaming, obviously we have incredibly incredible team of people here, and talented audio engineers that adjust the microphones, but still it all has to be, it's almost a technical performance in some degree, but also you have to just be you and be the character as well. So these are things that we have to bear in mind as a voice actor. But I mean, we also have to have this incredible imagination of where we are. We have to build this world around us. And of course, a lot of actors now, especially with, most movies have green screen, blue screen, gray screen, whatever. So they can definitely, I'm sure, have an idea about that too, that, if it's not physically there, it still has to be in your mind, because you're acting. So yeah, it is. It's a workout still, especially video games.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially for video games. Yeah, because there's a lot more interaction, and you've got to imagine kind of the situations a little bit more as well.
Mm-hmm.
So from what I can gather from seeing things on your TikTok and the background behind you, you seem like
Yes.
a bit of a Star Wars fan.
Just a bit.
So I wanted to ask you, what was it like getting to be a part of the Lego Star Wars?
Oh, I mean, it was just a thrill. I remember getting the call, and I think before they finished the sentence, we're working on a new Lego production right now, and I don't think they'd even got the wars part out. I think they just said start, and I was already like, yes. It's for Admiral Ozzel, and I did the audition down the phone. They just said, we really like what you did with Hero Factory and stuff. Can we just hear what you would do for Admiral Ozzel? So I was like, yes, Lord Vader. I've dispatched probe droids all over the galaxy, each one programmed to hunt down Skywalker. And they were like, great, brilliant. Can you come in, next week? I was like, yes, absolutely. So, just being a lifelong Star Wars fan, just to be able to record "Yes, Lord Vader" was that's enough for me. I can check out now. It was a great privilege.
Have you been a fan of Star Wars your whole life then?
Yes, yeah. I've got actually down here. I don't know about. I've got a collection of my first original Star Wars figures.
Yeah.
These are from 78. There you go. Saying how old I am. But yeah, I've loved Star Wars ever since it came out, as I'm sure a lot of people have. I know there's a few people that are late to being a Star Wars fan, but there's a lot to be a fan about, even if it's just with the new Mandalorian show, which was brilliant. Yeah, so I fill my studio with Star Wars vibes.
Have you watched many of the animated series, so the Clone Wars and things like that?
No, funny enough, I didn't. James Arnold Taylor, who's a very, very talented voice actor. We've worked on a couple of things together and met out here in LA. Of course, he plays Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I never, no, I didn't. I really missed that boat. I was very much into all the movies and things. But no, I never watched any of the Attack of the Clones or that.
Yeah, no. I certainly would. I'm sure, especially as a voice actor, you would appreciate some of the performances in that.
Yes.
I forgot his name, but the one who plays Darth Maul. Sam something. I can't quite remember it.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It is very good performance.
Yeah.
And the Bad Batch is starting soon, which is kind of like a spin-off from it.
Yes.
So yeah, it should be good. And as a Star Wars fan, I'm sure you'd enjoy it.
Well, I now have full access to Disney Plus, so I think that's going to help things. I think one of the reasons was it was like, well, how do I get to it? How do I watch it? And now it's so easy. So it's there sitting.
Even for I would say just the final series of it. The first few series are a little bit more catered to probably the like kids show as a kids show, but after season 3 it just flicks to
wow.
It doesn't even feel like a kids show at the end.
Wow.
So yeah, that would be a recommendation for you.
Okay, I like that. Thank you.
That's right. So okay, we'll move on to Otter. With having a character in Warzone, have you played much of it? Have you played much of Warzone?
No, I haven't played much of any video games. It's just something I guess I just didn't fall into. I've been voicing video games for over a decade, which I love to do. But it's different with Call of Duty because of its popularity and mammoth, size across the world. I've really wanted to learn as much about it as possible and immerse myself in the world. So I do watch a lot of, people send me clips and things. I watch a lot of YouTubers and Twitch feeds and things like that. So, and of course, I did my due diligence with my character and all the different skins and all the milsim skins and all the other operators. So yeah, even though I don't play, I can have a pretty good conversation with everyone.
So how did that role come about? Because that's quite an interesting role to get.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Again, Activision reached out to my agent, and this was early 2019, January of 2019. And they said Activision would like you to read for this role. And it was just called Operator. Didn't know it was Call of Duty. Nothing. Just it was called an operator. And I think it was kind of like Otter's bio, you know. So it was from East End of London, had a rough upbringing, went into, the military, then applied for special forces, blah, 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 served in Afghanistan, and I just did a really grounded character that I felt kind of reflected what I was reading on the page, but I didn't get a lot of information. And that was that. And 6 months went by, which is very unusual. Normally with voiceover, it happens very quick. Normally you're in the studio either the next day or certainly within a few days. So 6 months went by. I kind of forgot about it. And then I got a call from Activision in the June of that year, 2019. And they said, we'd like you to come in for the role. Still didn't know it was Call of Duty because it's all top secret. So it was only until I went into record, because of course this was before lockdown, that I knew it was Call of Duty. So again, that's another thing with a lot of these big projects. We can't talk about them until they're actually released, which we, as voice actors and actors generally, have to take very, very seriously. So no social media. It's a nightmare almost for productions these days, what with drones and social media, trying to keep something quiet so that they have that big impact when it's released. So it was the same thing. I recorded it, but fortunately, and this was a rare instance, that I recorded it, and then literally 3 months later, it was released in October 25 of 2019. So I didn't have to wait too long to see it. And then, of course, again, I didn't really think that much about it until I really started getting onto TikTok, and I thought, I'll let people know I'm Otter in Call of Duty, and and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, Otter! Hey, Otter! On my skin, I've run with you since day one, and then the community have just been awesome. So all the Call of Duty community out there, thank you so much. You guys just are so awesome. And TikTok's been a great conduit for me reaching out to fans, and I do lives every day now with a lot of Call of Duty fans, a lot of people interested in voiceover and what we do and stuff. So yeah, my thanks to Activision and my thanks to TikTok for providing those opportunities, and to all the fans out there. They're just awesome.
Well, I was going to ask you as well, sort of what was the reasoning for starting the TikTok? Was it really just to sort of connect with the fans of it, or?
It really appealed to me a lot. I've always been fairly late to getting on board with social media. I was very late coming into Instagram, and reasonably late coming into TikTok, but I caught it sort of mid last year. And now, of course, it's exploded. But it really appealed to me because it was video, because it was, for creators and creative people, it's kind of a dream come true, because it's, they're a minute long. It's all video. No, only I know people do photos and transitions and stuff, but it's still ultimately a video. And so for me, that really appealed to me right off the bat. And also very, very early on, I recognized, wow, this is a really well-policed, supportive environment, because especially for people, creative people, whether you're an artist, a pottery maker, woodworker, whatever it is, we are being very vulnerable in showing our art form here. So we're putting it out for criticism. We're putting it out, it's not all good. But I definitely noticed very early on with TikTok that the support was just fantastic, and it still is. I see wonderful collaborations and people supporting. I mean, I try and support as many artists as I can, especially when there's a crossover between some of the projects I've worked on and artists. It's great to do the duets, on TikTok and support other creators. So yeah, love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a good platform to get on. So the next question that I have for you is, what would your dream voiceover role be? What's the kind of character or universe of, whether it's game series or a film series or brand? What would be your dream role that you'd love to get?
Star Wars. Yeah, anything. I would not be fussy. I mean, yeah, if I had to put a franchise, if you like, at the top of the list, I mean, the Star Wars has got to take that coveted place. Whether it's a droid or a creature or character, yeah, I would love that. And all credit to Disney now, with putting out so much Star Wars content and Marvel content. I think it's just extraordinary, and it's incredible to see the transition, if there is one now, between what's television production and what's movie production.
Yeah.
I mean, when you watch The Mandalorian, I mean, stitch those all together and you've got, a 16-hour, movie.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So yeah, anything Star Wars. But I do love the Marvel universe too. That is, it's just the ultimate escapism, isn't it?
Yeah. well, like you mentioned about the budget, I don't know if you'd watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think that was budgeted at like $1 million an episode or something. Way more than that, actually. I think. It's crazy numbers.
Oh yeah, it's between 10 and 20 million an episode now.
It's that and WandaVision. It's it's proper breaking the wall between TV and film, which I think it's pretty great to see. I think. I don't know about you, but.
Oh yeah, I mean, I really hope theatres, have a revival period, because I think out of everything, and I know this firsthand from some of my close friends who are stand-up comedians, live performances, theatres, movie theatres have just been hit so hard. So when it is safe to revisit, I think it would be great to support those establishments and stuff. But of course, what have we done in the meantime? Well, we've been at home. We've subscribed to all these streaming networks. We've probably got a bigger TV, and the television quality now is just unbelievable with the OLED and QLED and all these incredible technologies. So, and the surround sound. I mean, it's not surprising that studios have recognized, wow, we can now bring movie budgets and quality to our television shows, like the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is, I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah, I think as well, on that note, that say Marvel put that budget into a film of Falcon and Winter Soldier, that's only going to keep people for a week of a subscription. If you spread it across 6 episodes, then you're going to have to keep people for much longer. I feel like that's probably the tactic that they're heading for.
Yeah, and do you know what though? I think it's just a win-win. I mean, if you're a fan, you're just so thirsty for these shows. I mean, we've got Loki hitting, in June, and the schedule is just incredible. So I just think it's a win-win. We want the content. We want to see these longer format shows, and also I think by not being in a movie, say for instance the Falcon and Winter Soldier, they've got a little bit more time to delve deeper into the character and the background. They're not, because a movie you have to kind of get in quick. It's like a James Bond movie. It opens with a spectacular scene and you're in it, you're jumping on the roller coaster and you're off. So I think it gives them also a little bit of creative license that they can take a little bit more time in developing the backstory and stuff, which, you know, we all are just so thirsty. Give us it all.
Well, I want to flip that question I asked earlier about a dream voice role that you would like to get.
Yeah.
And I want to flip that on. What's one role that has already been done that you've seen and you would have loved to have the opportunity to do?
I would have loved to have been the voice of Jarvis. I remember when that first came out, and of course, Paul Bettany does an incredible job. I'm not knocking that at all. He's amazing. But I immediately thought, because I love doing, I did a computer voice for Star Trek Discovery. I played a ship computer for one of the stealth ships in Section 31 of the Discovery Star Trek, and it was I loved it. And I've played a couple of other droid voices. But yeah, I know when I first saw the Jarvis with Iron Man, I was like, oh, that would have been a great gig. And I know Paul Bettany, when he first started, he had no idea that was going to transition, you know, to Vision. So, you know, I guess he was thinking, oh, well, this is a good voiceover gig, you know, and then he's got his own TV show, and yeah, amazing.
Would you be comfortable with something like that? Like, would I know, and I'm not sure if you've done any, but would you be comfortable acting in front of a camera, or would you prefer sticking?
No. I mean, you know, it's not outside of my wheelhouse, because I mean, I did a lot of presenting on camera and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure I would drop back into it, you know, and hopefully bring some of my acting chops from voiceover to the screen. But yeah, I mean, you know, I guess there's a lot of guys out there that are doing both, you know, but equally, you know, there's guys that are doing mostly voice acting. But people like Tom Kenny, who's the voice of SpongeBob, and he has a stand-up background as well, and a really great guy. He does on-camera stuff too, you know, just because he gets opportunities because of you know, his stellar work on SpongeBob.
Well, that was all the questions I have, except for one last one.
Yes.
Which I ask every single guest at the end. And it is simply, what does success mean to you?
Not having regrets. I think one of the biggest things and one of the biggest motivators for me was, especially sort of coming out to LA and making that sacrifice of leaving family and friends and starting a new life somewhere, it outweighed the thought of having regrets later on. Yeah. So, you know, happiness is important. Of course, it always is. But regrets can eat you up from the inside. So I would rather have come out here and given it a really good go and come back home thinking, at least I went out there, rather than sitting at home now thinking, wow, I wonder what would have happened. That would eat you up, you know.
Well, that was a great answer. It's been a pleasure talking to you and talking about your whole career. Yeah, thank you for coming on the podcast. Oh,
absolutely. My pleasure. And if anyone wants to join the lives and have a chat with me, TikTok at the Jason Anthony. Yeah, I'm pretty much live every day. So look forward to hearing from you guys.
Yeah. All right. Cheers. Thank you.